Hello and welcome to a new episode of the CTO Show with Mehmet. My name is Mehmet, and as you know, in each episode, I discuss different topics from emerging technologies like AI. I also discuss cybersecurity. And as you are familiar now, sometimes I have with me subject matter experts, entrepreneurs who talk also about these technologies. And today I'm very pleased to have with me Ozan Bilgen, who is joining me from the US. It's early morning for him today. Ozan, he's the CEO of Base64.ai. And Ozan, I like to keep it for you to introduce yourself a little bit, what you have been up to, and then we can take the discussion from there.
Thank you, Mehmet. Great to be here. Um, my name is Ozan Bilgen. I'm the CEO of Base64.ai. We built this AI that process all types of documents. Previously, I was a software engineer, bachelor's and master's in computer sciences, and I worked at IBM, Microsoft, Netflix, PayPal, Uber, and Palantir. Throughout this career, I noticed the importance of automating document processes, especially at Uber, where we had thousands of people, manually transcribing driver documents. And back in those times, I said to myself, one day I'm going to build an AI that will automatically process all documents so we don't have to wait days to onboard new drivers. So that's the story of Basics for AI.
That's great to hear, Ozan, and great history also as well. Now, you started with multiple things, so AI, of course, and automation. Now, I'm pretty much interested to know from your perspective. You gave one use case about something in the office, but overall, how do you see automation can change completely the office life? Actually, it can change the whole life because there are a lot of talks. Yesterday, also, I was having kind of like master class about it, but always I like to hear the opinion of the experts and the people who are in this in the field.
I think automation is in our nature. We as humans, we always think about doing better and faster in any area. So in farming, we have built tractors, right? So in the software, we have RPA. In factories, we have robots. Doing faster, efficiently, cheaper results in more wealth for everybody and brings the society forward. So this is why I think we should always think of what we are doing every day as a repeated task and think about ways to automate that. So we found this automation in document processing, and I'm sure there are a lot of different ways to automate the office life. But we think document automation is very important because previously you always had to have a human to do that. It was not possible to automate it anyway. So this is why I feel very excited about automating document processes.
That's really great. And actually, I agree with you because humans, like always, are lazy and they like to take shortcuts. And they think automation is the best way to do this. So that's a great insight. Now, I know that Base 64, is known for one of the fastest growing AI and automation startups in New York. Can you share like some key milestones that have contributed to this rapid growth, Ozan?
Yeah, I can share my numbers from last year. Last year we grew 7x.
Wow.
We raised our first seed funding, which is about like $2 million from top investors such as Sequoia, Long Journey Ventures, and Data Community Fund, alongside very famous angels. Using that growth, our net dollar retention grew almost like 3x in total. And net dollar retention is the amount of consumption your existing consumers are doing. So we have almost 3x land and expand. With that, we also built a beautiful automation suite around our powerful AI. This automation suite now allows you to go live in document processing in just about like 5 minutes. You can very simply tell this automation suite, hey, my files are in Dropbox, Google Drive, in my email inbox, on my scanner, and then process it and I get it verified and I put the results depending on the document type. If it's an invoice, put it in QuickBooks, otherwise put it in Google Sheet or database. And building this integration does not require zero resources from the customer's end. It can be done by our no-code system in about 5-10 minute time frame, and then you can go live this afternoon if you want to. So you can forget about document processing very quickly. And we believe that this is the key to bring this technology alive. We previously had an API, and that was a very simple API. It was a simple API call. However, getting into the development life cycles are quite long, right? With this no-code integration framework, we don't need to go into the product life cycle. We can actually bypass it and take a shortcut where the uh, help can be delivered. We can deliver it with the airlift.
That's great. Like you mentioned no code, and it seems like no code is making a revolution. Do you think like it's something that is changing the way actually we come out with products? Like, yeah, what's the future for no code? Because myself also, I talk a lot about no code in the show. So what's your take on it?
I think no code is a process. I can know if you ask an engineer today what's the no code, they will say, well, you don't have to write software. If you were to ask no code maybe 20 years ago, 30 years ago, they will ask, you don't need to use assembly. If you ask no code before that, I will tell you like, hey, you don't have to build circuits. So going forward, as things become more stabilized in the technology, we always again try to find better and faster ways to automate it. So no code essentially is pre-built components. So if we have over 400 different third-party integrations, including uh, anywhere like SaaS software like QuickBooks, Google Drive, etc., but also to scanners and also to RPA companies, right? So all those things are pre-built for you. So if you want to use our technology, all you have to do is like enter your credentials, such as log in with Google or put your auth2 credentials, right? So that happened because we put the energy upfront to build those connectors for you. And this is a one-time investment from our end, but it is an n times investment saved from our end customers. Plus, it is well tested. It works in production already, so there should be almost no bugs in that integration. So building this component with just like your mouse click is of course much more easier and can be done by anybody. Anybody can click and log in with Google or log in with Facebook. It doesn't require a software engineer to do that. Any computer user can do that. So Nogu brings the technology, even a very high-end, cutting-edge AI, so powered document understanding technology, to the hands of like ordinary office workers who don't need to know too much about software. And I think this is very, very important to uh, evangelize this technology to masses. If this AI is only useful or usable by few, then the technology is not going to go too far. I think that's what Microsoft did with software and computers. It brought literally Windows on every desktop, and that caused this like the mass explosion in technology and software engineering as well. So with this no code, I think more software will be available to everybody who don't code or who don't want to code.
So based on this, do you think like software engineering will be something obsolete, or we still, of course, we will need, you know, developers and coders? Like, what's your take on this?
So I think that the technology evolves, the engineering gets more complex. It doesn't disappear. I may say, for example, give a very different example. Let's say civil engineer, right? So civil engineers, maybe 5,000 years ago or 10,000 years ago, they need to move stones or maybe hundreds of kilometers away, right? And now, well, there are concrete. There is bricks that they can just lay out. There are now pre-built homes that they can use. Well, did it kill the profession? No, it actually like probably there are way more software civil engineers than it was in the past, and its importance is not any lesser than that either. So with that, basic software engineering should be automated. Like this is RPA, this is no code, right? So all those things that you think of is an introduction to complex software engineering. However, real software engineering should always like be on the frontiers of the revolution. I may give you another example. I started building website in 1998. Back
Wow.
then, our only option was HTML and just a little bit of tiny JavaScript. Now, web technologies are really immense. There's, for example, mobile web that we did not need to even think about in '98. There's
Yes.
now React, single sign, single page uh, setups, and then there's entire Node.js, which did not also existed. Now there's microservices, which wasn't a very popular topic back in '98 either. So software engineering itself evolved, but at the end of the day, the result might be still a web page. However, the way to do it, the complexity and the expectations, and also the value of that website increased tremendously. So if anyone thinks they're just gonna keep doing the same exact job for decades, I think they're mistaken. That it just doesn't exist in this world of technology where things rapidly evolve, and especially if they work in technology, that's gonna evolve much much faster.
So the status quo will be always disrupted, which is something I agree on. Now, another thing regarding no code is I I have a technical background, but I wanted to explore the no code. What I have seen is that no code is also now enabling people with few or maybe no technical background at all to come up with products. Um, do you see this something positive, or like I'm asking you because you've been on the that side, or you see it? No, it's encouraging because we're gonna see more ideas coming up to life, and then maybe later someone with more expertise will grow this. How do you see this evolution? I would say.
I found it very positive. So creating technology was almost exclusively software engineers or similar fields journey. Now with no code technologies, now technology being so ubiquitously available to all of us, um, anyone can start chasing their dreams. So today, if somebody who doesn't have any development experience can build end-to-end workflows, showing like through Figmas and others,
Hmm?
build their prototypes. And I think about those prototypes, iterate over the prototype, collect feedback, collect funding even, with just basically designing things with their mouse. And this is going to create new jobs for even for software engineers as well. So making technology available is, I think, part of the go-to-market strategy in technology. So if technology, like I said, is only available just to few people, it's not going to be um, adapted to masses, right? And that's not going to get the funding and attention that it needs.
100% agree with you on this, and it's like you democratize actually the capability of people to
Yeah.
create their own products. Now, we talked a little bit about AI, we talked about automation, and I always, whether I have guests or when I'm, sharing my thoughts by myself, I'm saying that there is an intersection between AI and automation, and this would gotta take us places. And for me, I think these places is really very futuristic. I would say maybe now, but I started to see, you know, people usually when now we say AI, they think about only ChatGPT, and I'm telling them, no, it's not only this. Like AI is like much more than that. But from your perspective, compare, and actually you are doing something similar with Base 64. Uh, but what are the opportunities that will be open for us because of this intersection between AI and automation?
So AI and automation are, I would say, cousins, but not the same thing. AI is the capability of doing things, and automation is actually doing that thing.
Mhm.
Um, AI is the brain, automation is the muscle, right? Arms and legs. So without the brain, the arms and legs are not, very helpful. But without the brain, without arms and legs, brain does not produce ROI. So they should always like work together, hand in hand, to build, to deliver value, to increase ROI, to make things cheaper, faster, and uh, much more solid than doing it like just by themselves. I think in the future, we will not do things that we do more than once a week. We will pretty much do it with automation. And automation will itself also benefit from AI. So now with generative AI, I know a few RPA companies that already try to build their RPA solutions through generative AI. So instead of building RPA no-code systems, you will just enter in a text box saying like, I want you to create me, for example, a UiPath project
Mhm.
that says, that picks my files from Google Drive, passes through the Base64 AI, and then they put the results in the um, MySQL database, and then boom, all of a sudden the integration will show up automatically. So this is the future of the Aladdin's lamp genie. So in
Yeah.
the past, I remember the novel, like the genie tell the genie whatever, and then it happens. And this is the future of AI and automation. We will have these genies around that we tell, "Hey, I want you to do this. I want you to write me an essay about, World War II, or I want you to process my documents in my inbox that I receive from my vendors and put it in my accounting system, or I want you to draw me my, a painting of, how I will look like in 20 years." All those things will be done by AI effortlessly and with minimum cost, and hopefully day by day even better and much more completely.
100% agree with you on this point. My theory is a little bit different. My theory, I mean, it's not different in the same direction, but actually, the AI and automation will allow us to free ourselves from, I call them silly tasks or like dummy work, and then focus on something which is higher. And I would relate this to the following questions because you mentioned something very important like a few minutes back about like how humans can, do something different, how they can learn something different. From your perspective, and I want this for I know that I have some educators that listen to the show. I know that there are some people in uh, HR that listen to the show. What do you think the skills that really would matter in an age where, as you mentioned, like AI would be and automation be able almost to do everything that now we know? So, what we should be focusing on learning in the future to stay, you know, up to the level that we will be in.
I think what we should be focusing on, the humankind's the biggest distinguisher, um, what we are best in this world, in this living beings, and that's problem solving. Problems will evolve, but the need for problem solving will never end. Today, my job as the CEO of Base64.ai is to be the chief problem solver. That is not something you can necessarily easily delegate to AI yet, and it's going to take probably like much longer than many of the things that we discussed today. So we should always encourage the younglings to find problems, challenging but attainable goals, and focus on solving them. And that experiences, whether small or big, will help them in the future to tackle larger problems. And it will also give them the confidence that they can solve problems. And with that, I think that's the best education. A lot of things we learn in school, we will forget one day. But the skills we obtained, the skills to solve problems, the skills to learn new things, that's what remains with us. And that's what we use every day. And this is, I think, my opinion, the gist of going to school is.
Yeah, I heard someone the other day, and he was a professor, I think. He's saying, like, you should forget about the schools and universities in the way that our generation saw it, because maybe in the future, the concept of a school and a place to learn would be completely different. And I like, the way you said it, like we should train young people how to solve problems, actually how to spot problems in the first place and then how to solve them. And I think, yeah, this is as us as a human is the one of the biggest thing that we could contribute. Now, shifting gears a little bit, like Ozan, I know you've worked and you mentioned you worked at IBM, Microsoft, Netflix, and PayPal and others, and you become a founder. So what advice you give for fellow people who are now where you were before and they want to take the leap and start something by themselves? So what you can tell them?
Um, First of all, what I will say is like, don't give up. It is going to be a very bumpy road. It is not like in the movies or the books or the short bios that you read. I was there and this and I built that. That is just the highlight. There are many lowlights. Um, we may, you know, achieve a success in here, but we actually failed along the way many, many times as well. There's this famous saying Edison has tried 10,000 times to find how to do the lamp. This is pretty accurate. It is not an exaggeration. I totally believe that it's 10,000 times. Um, so that requires you to have a confidence, an inner feeling that you can achieve that. But empty confidence only leads you on the wrong path. So you need to build experience to back that confidence up. So you need to have relevant experience in the field that you want to work on. My entire career was in software engineering. I feel very confident to build any software product. And I demonstrated that in many, many different places, in many different areas of software engineering, whether it's a front end, back end, and payment system or infrastructure. So that gave me the confidence that I can do that. So experience is important. The other thing is you should consider the financial aspect of this problem. You will be working on this for maybe a year or two before it starts generating some necessary revenue for you to say like, okay, this is working. And along that way, you will need people to help you out, and they will ask you salary. You will pay for services, whether it's servers or accounting or lawyers. So you have to pay other people's as well. So all those things has accumulated expense for you. So you need to also think about like whether you are financially ready. You have to think about like your life, your emotions. Are you emotionally ready? Maybe you are in a stable position and you can take on some risk. That's what I did. I started this company after Uber's IPO, and actually not even that, after a 6 month blackout period where after which we can sell our stocks. That's when I started the company. If I were to start earlier, I wouldn't have the flexibility of taking the risks that I'm taking today. So maybe you are going through some life problem. Maybe there's a family health issue. Maybe you're going through a divorce or something, or you're a new kid. They may not be the best time to start a company. So you have to think about every different aspect. And then I think you have to a little bit like, just go with it, the flow. It will never be a perfect time. Also, we should never forget about that too. So it's a very delicate balance of those things. And then you have to listen to your gut and go for it and understand you can be successful and you cannot be successful. Certain things are in your hand. Certain things are not in your hand. When I started this company, 2 months after the pandemic started, everything got shut down.
Oh,
Nobody was interested in AI or automation. They were looking for basic supplies in the household. That was the only thing that people wanted to buy at that time. So life is unpredictable. I think that's part of the beauty of it. So giving that, I think it's a little bit of luck is always a good thing. I hope you have it on your side.
that's very inspiring, I would say, Ozan, and great insight for fellow entrepreneurs, I say. I always tell people you should do it. I did the mistake of not listening to my gut many times, but now finally I did it. And I'm happy to see like you have done it, and I think you've done it very successfully. Before we close, Ozan, like any like thoughts or anything that you wished I asked you want to talk about?
I think I want to talk about the what will happen with AI. I
Yeah.
think a lot of people are afraid that they're gonna lose their job. I think a
Yes.
lot of people are afraid they will be basically useless, and they will not be able to like work. And I understand that fear, and there's a there's some truth to that too. So in fact, it's not a new thing. So when the before the tractors arrived, I think like 80% of the population was farmers. Now it's less than 10% of the population.
Yep.
So if you look at it from that perspective, well, 70% of people lost their job. However, if you look at the unemployment rate, it's not 70%. In fact, we are doing things. We are all like doing something here. So what's the secret here? So what happened is when the change comes, we adapt to that change. This is our biggest, one of our biggest strengths as humans. We are very adaptable to change. If winter comes, we put on a jacket, right?
Yes.
Um, we lose a job, we go find a new one. So we don't give up. We not giving up is in our blood, and then we always find new and creative ways to solve the problems. So your job, for example, being a podcast show host, did not exist 100 years ago when the tractors came. It was another thing. So or me being an artificial intelligence CEO was another thing 100 years ago. So as technology evolves, certain jobs will become obsolete or will be like, less important. And but new jobs will start happening. In fact, today we have some of those new job titles in our organization. We have a person who tags the machine learning result. We have a person who verifies the machine learning results. So all those jobs did not exist before this AI company or companies started like 10 years ago. So it's
Right.
a new kind of jobs are emerging, and they are not the exact same things that they were doing 10 years ago, but it is not also completely different either. We will learn new professions, new skills, and adapt to them. So this is why I don't think there is a massive scare about like AI. There are so many things to do. We are now about like 25 people, but if we had like 250 people, there is tasks, or we can like we can keep them busy and occupied and excited about. So I think there is no shortage in labor, definitely, but the um, shortage for skilled labor actually will increase. And that is the gist of no code and automation and RPA. They exist because society could not raise enough software engineers. So and they had to like, find great software engineers with those tools from people who don't necessarily code everything up. So that's why I think in the future there will be no shortage of jobs because of AI. But there will be some jobs, some professions that exist today will become redundant or less important.
I always repeat exactly the same. You gave the farmer and the tractors. Actually, what I give is the postman, right? So the postman job doesn't exist. I'm sure maybe in some place, maybe it does, but I mean, you can send an email. You don't have to send a letter. Or, you know, the guy who used to ride the horse, and, you don't need to have cars today. So this is something that happens in history again and again. And this is why this is why I asked you about the skills in the future. So because I'm telling people you should not be scared. Actually, you should be happy because you're gonna learn something more meaningful. You're gonna do a job that really it will affect maybe people's lives. You're not just counting something and then writing there. The robot can do this, or you're
Mhm.
not like, for example, repeating yourself, sending emails to people, like because a robot can do this or whatever. It's a bot. So you would do something that people will feel it. Like, yeah, you have your sentiment, your feelings, your like your soul put into the job, so it will be more meaningful. And this is why I agree with you, Ozan, about this point. Some people they don't like it when I mention it. They say you're too much optimistic. I say, yeah, I'm optimistic by nature, and I think the technology is here to just take us to different places. Um, and because just for matter of fun, because you mentioned about podcasting was not there uh, 100 years back. Yeah, like I would not be pissed off if an AI, can do the podcast for me because I have to go and find something else, right? So I prepare myself. I've always, in all my career, prepared myself that, yeah, one day technology might replace the thing that I do today. So I should be ready for the next. Um, that was a very, I would say, nice conversation with you, Ozan. I really enjoyed talking to you. And thank you for the time as a CEO. I know how much busy you are. So thank you for giving us the time today. Um, and for everyone who's watching or if you are listening over, your favorite podcasting platform, thank you very much for being loyal to us. And as usual, if you are a new listener or a new someone new to the show, don't forget to subscribe, whether you're watching this on YouTube, whether you are listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or any other podcasting platform. Subscribe, tell your friends, tell your colleagues. We are trying to get as much as meaningful and useful information to you regarding technology, business, entrepreneurship. And until we meet in the next episode, thank you very much and stay tuned for another episode.